Good morning on this Thursday morning. I'm Pete Najarian, and this is the Take for Market Rebellion Thursday. Going back to Wednesday, have you seen anything like this in your life? We started off strong. We finished strong. Oh, but that's not the whole story, because you look at right in the middle of the day, actually into the middle of the afternoon, when Chair Powell got up there, we had a market that was up about 500 points on the Dow. Next thing you know, we were in the red. And between that point in time until the close, we absolutely ripped higher once again, finishing up on the day 520 points, 1,000+ point move, highs to lows, back to those highs. Just an absolutely incredible day. And oh, by the way, same thing happening with the NASDAQ. And just think about this. A couple of days ago, we hit 52-week lows on the NASDAQ. We have been ripping ever since. And we had a monstrous day yesterday. We were up 300, then we were up 350. We went down towards the negative area, just like the Dow did, just like the S&P did. And then we ripped to the upside, and that ripped to the upside even in a more dramatic fashion, finishing up 3.8%, 480 points to the upside for the NASDAQ. Just incredible numbers. And then when you look at the volatility and you look at it, and it's coming down, it's coming down, it's coming down. We actually finished the day just beneath 27. So yes, we are comfortably down below 30. Yesterday, our range was between 26 and call it almost just a little bit underneath 30. And just an incredible day. By the way, volume, it was back. 48 million contracts trading yesterday. And of course, it makes a lot of sense that we would, given the kind of a craziness of the markets that we were looking at throughout the session. But if you just look at that last, maybe call it 3.5 or 4 hours of the day, absolutely incredible just how much the movement that we had there. So gold, right around 1930, 1928, in that kind of a range, the 10-year, 2.1, 2.2, sort of been hanging around there after listening to the Fed and Chair Powell doing a great job of at least communicating. Not everybody might agree, but a lot of that communication, and he has been transparent. That's why we were just talking before I came on here. People knew he had said quarter point. He had said we'll be data dependent. He had said there's a good possibility for many more rate hikes throughout the year. It's kind of interesting how shocking that looked like the reaction, at least, was from the markets. Crude got absolutely slapped down yesterday, down towards 95. If after being 129 just days ago, sessions ago, to get to this level this fast, a little over a week, is pretty incredible. But what was really moving yesterday? Financials were ripping to the upside. They were up about 3%. Technology was up 2% early, ripped, as I said, even more so because that big move in the NASDAQ, that was up a little over 3%. Consumer discretionary up over 3%. The biggest one of all, though, it's not a major sector, it's a subsector, but we like to highlight it because all these names are so much in front of us each and every day. But the semiconductors, you look at the semiconductors, they were up 2.5% early on in the day. Finished the day up more than 5%, 5.3% to be precise on the day. So a monstrous run. Now that has been an area that had gotten beaten up. We were just talking about the NASDAQ being down at 52-week lows not too many days ago. A lot of that really coming not just from tech, but a lot of that coming from those semiconductors. We did have some strength yesterday. Las Vegas Sands, Wynn, airlines with names like United. Chinese names were absolutely on fire yesterday. I'm sure you heard all the different stories about that. By the way, I'll give you an update. Yesterday, we had some BABA action. Bought it. Yesterday, sold it. Why? And I put that out on Twitter for people as well. But why? Because the move was so extraordinary in a single session. We watched the price of those options go from a little more than $2 to $9. Incredible move, but you don't want to hold on. I think that's part of the discipline, at least, that we have here at Market Rebellion, is there are certain levels where you start to have to make decisions. We call it DDA. Discipline dictates action. And that one was actionable. We had some great moves in the ETFs, but once again, it's why I don't usually trade in the ETFs. They don't have the same bang for your buck. You look over at BABA and the move of the options there, then you look at KWEB or you look at FXI or any of those other ETFs, not the same kind of movement. You had great movement, but those options are not moving anything close to the beta of what we are seeing. That beta works in all directions, as we know. Speaking of which, we've got Boeing That was strong yesterday. Nike, Salesforce, Apple had a really nice bounce back day, up nearly 3%. Microsoft, all the big tech names seem to be participating. What wasn't really participating and continued to be a drag a little bit on the markets was defense. Those names were so strong for so long. Those defense names definitely under a little bit of pressure yesterday. Beta Energy definitely under pressure back at 95. Certainly huge pressure yesterday. Walgreens, a little bit of healthcare, J&J and Merck, a little bit of pressure there. Nothing huge, but just worth pointing out that we did see a little bit of that. Now we had the jobless claims today. Not a big, huge number, nothing that really rattled anything. And certainly the markets weren't moving all that much. As a matter of fact, they've been staying somewhat within a range, especially compared to what we've seen over the last week. But we're only an hour into the day. But we started off negative territory. Down about 100 points on the Dow, down about 70 points on the NASDAQ. We have rallied off of that point just on a methodical sort of a move in the first hour. Last I looked, the Dow was up about 40 to 60 points. I looked over at the NASDAQ, it was up anywhere between 10 and 30 points. So we've definitely come off of those lows. We'll see if we can stay into the green. But one of the things that's absolutely in the green, take a look at energy today, crude. Back up over 101. Now, that's a pretty substantial move, 5%, 6% move to the upside. Really nice bounce back for crude. You wondered when that might come. We're seeing a little bit of that today. We'll see if that's something that's sustainable as well. Also looking at a little bit of a bounce in gold. Gold's been moving, but not nearly the kind of pace that we have seen from what we've been seeing out of crude, which has been unbelievable. 10 years staying right about where it's been. I look over at the volatility index, it's somewhere between 26 and 27. 27 early, we started to slip down towards 26, and it's understandable today, but yesterday, that was amazing. Seems like the VIX maybe came down a little too much given the kind of movement we've seen out of the S&P, just these monstrous moves. Then you look over at what's going, 3% plus moves each and every day recently from the NASDAQ. That's something that definitely stands out, and that's where volatility is something where you really want to start looking at that a little bit closer. If it gets a little bit cheap, it is truly becoming cheap. We'll see. After 2 days of being under 100, it is interesting to see crude get back up over that 100 level as well after getting over that level a while back and then continuing that acceleration before the deceleration that we have witnessed over the last few sessions. So technology, down about 1% early. It's moved back towards flat. Consumer discretion, down about 1% early. It actually moved into positive territory, up about 0.3%. Financials, down about 1% early. They've rallied to flat. You get sort of the theme of this thing. The one area that's kind of held on is energy, which has been a 2% move since the start of the day and has continued. Of course, that's why those beta names are actually leading once again. Names like Occidental and Devon and Halliburton and APA and Marathon Oil, all those names really having a pretty spectacular day today. You look at Chevron, you look at Exxon, you look at names like CSX also having a decent day. Look at Williams-Sonoma. Now, this is a name that I was in for a long period of time, not in it anymore, but really had a pretty unbelievable earnings report, had a nice spike, was up over at 167, but then cooled off and very rapidly returned back towards 156. Still up significantly on the day, but gave up those huge gains early on. Pretty interesting. Just keep an eye on that name. I know I will be. So a little bit of weakness, financials, sure. Capital One, definitely one of those names. Airlines with Delta and United and all of them, they seem to be moving together. Cruise ships as well. I look over at a CCL or a Royal, all those a little bit under pressure, at least early on. NetEase and some of those Chinese names, PD, PDD, after that monstrous run yesterday, so many various names, a little bit of a pullback today, makes some sense. And then you've got the semiconductors that are kind of shifting around a little bit. They were down in negative territory, but trying to get towards that positive mark. They were down worse at the start of the day. They started to improve, definitely, just like technology was. Two unusuals, and then I'll see you on the halftime report today. We have a packed desk today, and it's going to be a really great show, but there's a lot of people, a lot of different guests. We got a lot going on there. Two unusuals right now, and then we're going to hit two unusuals that are going to be different later on. Cardinal Health is number one. We talk about healthcare all the time and some of the positives and negatives, and it shifts around. Cardinal Health CAH was trading about 54.90, so just underneath 55. 2,300 of the April 55 calls being bought today for a little over $1 to $1.45. Not a very expensive option considering where the stock is right now. It's basically trading right there at 55. So that one definitely stuck out. That was a very early trade along with Morgan Stanley. We haven't seen that name in a while. On the unusual side of things, we are seeing it today. Stock was trading a little over 90 and a half. We had a buyer of 4,200 of the March 93 calls. Not a whole lot of time for these to play out, but on a very sharp move by financials, specifically, obviously, in this case, Morgan Stanley, that could happen. It's an 18 cents up to about 40 cents for these calls. Again, these are the 93 strike with the stock trading 90 and a half. It's going to have to make a move, and it's going to happen fast. Folks, have a great day of trading. Understand the world of derivatives. It really is important. It really is a place that I think where you can do a lot of different things that can reduce risk. And there's a lot of different ways to play that, but you've got to have the knowledge to do that. Read the books, something online, whatever you want. We got a great team of guys here, coaches here at Market Rebellion as well that we're very proud of. Folks, have a great day of trading. I'll see you on the halftime.